So I'll be showing you how to fix your Bosch washing machine that is tripping the circuit breaker, or it's shorting, the power's going off every time you start a cycle. If yours looks different to this one, don't worry. As long as it's a Bosch and it's one of these series 4 and above, or even like the regular ones, this principle will apply to most of them. The first thing you need to do is you're gonna need to check to see the drum. Turn it off, check this drum, make sure you can turn it and it's not bouncing around. Make sure it's still central, because if it's wobbling around, going up and down, it means that the drum has fallen. And usually at that stage, it's not practical to be trying to replace the heating element. That will fix the tripping problem, but then it will come back again in a couple of months or weeks, as the problem is that the washer will be hitting the heating element because it's not central. So it'll be hitting somewhere here and then it'll cause it to trip again. So you got bigger problems if your drum, if you find that this metal drum inside is not central, it's banging, making a banging noise when it's turning, that means that your drum's gone. So it's better off to buy a new washing machine. But otherwise, if that's still intact and it's still working good, then we're gonna go ahead and check our heating element. So before you go ordering a new heating element, I'm gonna show you how to check to make sure that your heating element is not the problem of this tripping fault. Drum is this metal bit in here. So what you wanna do is turn it and then just check this gap between this rubber and that, and make sure that it's just even. And also where you get these pedals, you want to try to push it down and make sure that there's no excessive movement up or down. And you just keep going like that. And if it's all central, everything looks good, then that means we can go ahead and check our heating element. But if you've done yours and you find that it's wobbling or moving around, then that means that you've got bigger problems. Find that yours is moving around, wobbling. If the drum is off center, then it doesn't make sense for you to try and replace the heating element, because the problem will come back again. After a few weeks or a few months, you've just bought yourself a bit of time, but you'll definitely then need to replace the whole drum, which isn't practical at all. It's too expensive. But for the rest, we're gonna go ahead with this repair and we're gonna check to make sure that the heating element is our culprit or not. Now there's 2 different types of Bosch washers. Some of them, the heating element, which is something like this, it's usually mounted at the back. So we'll need to access the back, and with that, we're gonna use a T30 Torx bit. At the front, some models, they have it at the front. And with those models, you have to remove the front panel and check your heating element or replace it. But for those models, you can also access the heating element from beneath by putting it on the side, and then you can just disconnect the wires that go to the heating element and run a test. For us, we're gonna turn our washing machine around, unplug it, and have a look at our heating element to make sure that it's not causing problems. Back here, you've got this panel. So if you look at yours and you see it's got this panel on it, that's the panel we'll need to remove so that we can access our heating element. You need your Torx bit on a power drill, or you can get a manual one, and we'll take this bit off. There's a lot of screws around it. Make sure you take all of them off, and then we can remove it. To remove the cover, you simply lift it up and off. There's a tab that holds it at the top, which you get over, and then it comes out. You can see in here, this is our heating element, and we're gonna take these connectors off. We're just gonna disconnect them, take off the earth, and we're gonna connect it to power. if you connect yours to power, you're gonna select a cycle. You're gonna select maybe cotton's 60-degree wash or 30-degree, 40-degree wash, something that usually turns on the heating element. And if it starts and it doesn't trip the power straight away, then that means that your heating element is the problem. Then you need to replace the heating element. But if you do that and it strips the power, then that means that the heating element is not the problem. Then you got something else that's causing this issue. So go ahead, disconnect these terminals from the heating element, and then you can test it out. What you want to do is grab your multimeter as well to double check. Set it on the continuity setting and just test your leads to make sure that you get that continuous beep to say that, yeah, there's continuity. And then put one terminal on one side, the other on the other one, and you can see there's nothing. So that tells me that this heating element is not working. It's causing problems. So I'm going to change that. To change it, you're going to need to disconnect that. You're going to need a turn mill socket. You're going to need to undo this nut, and then we'll pull this out. You're going to need maybe to grab a towel. Some water is going to come out here, but if you don't mind the water, you can just take it out. Grab yourself a flat screwdriver and try to pry it out. There's a rubber holding this on there. To give yourself better access, you can disconnect the belt from the pulley. All you need to do is pull it towards you and it just comes off. Just get in there. Takes your time. You'll eventually get it. Sometimes you can just pull it and it'll come out. If you find it hard to take this out, you can actually tilt the washer. Get a towel, put it on the front where the display panel is, and tilt the washer forward. That will give you more space to work with as you pry it out. So like that. You got a better working space now. And now you can better access. To take it out, just pull it out. Ah, look at that. There's no way that was still working. No way that would still be working. Look at that. All that rust. We gotta clean this thing proper. Well, it's going in the bin, but in there, gotta make sure that it's nice and clean. With your new heating element, take that. And you're gonna notice that with the heating element, if you need one, you're gonna have to look on eBay, put in your model number. Your model number will be on a sticker at the back of the washer, and it'll start with a W or whatever your model is. It'll say ENR, and then it'll give you the number of your model. And then you can type that into Bosch and buy a heating element, or you can go off like eBay and buy one of these. So you'll notice that it's got this rubber section on it. So this rubber is the one that seals. So make sure when you put it in, this rubber is in nicely because it sits in that groove on the plastic. And inside there, in between these, it sits on a wire, which if you look inside, you gotta line it up with that so that it just slots in there. And then that will make sure that it's sitting nice and proper. And the trick here is to push the rubber in first. So you want to push this rubber bit in first, take off the temperature sensor, which is this bit, and separate these like that. Then you insert it. That way you can see where, if the rubber has gone in properly or not. So with just flat screwdriver, you can use that as well to just sort of push it in, guide it in, making sure it's nice and even. The bottom too, it's going in. There you go. So I can see that it's in now. It's in there. And now all I do now is to push that. To check before you go any further, what you want to do is turn this to make sure that it's not rubbing against, the drum's not rubbing against the heater. And for mine, I can hear that's hitting against the heater. So you then go back again. Check this out. Obviously it's not lined up. Just line it up properly. So it's in there. All right, it's in there. Turning that, that's still good. All right. That's good. Now I can turn it. I'm turning it and it's not rubbing against anything. So that heating element is in there nice and proper. Next thing you're going to do is put your heating sensor back in. Now put your sensor in. Sure it's all the way home. Remember to put back this bolt, this nut. Make sure everything's in there. All right, then we'll just reconnect all these connectors. Going on there. Okay, like that. And then once you've got that in, remember to put back the belt as well. To put the belt, you attach it to the small pulley here, the small on the motor, and then you attach one bit on the big spindle, big pulley. Then you turn it clockwise. Just be careful with your fingers. Turn it clockwise, and then it goes in just like that. Easy as. Might be a good idea to leave the back panel off so that you can check it to make sure that there's no water leaking from your heater once you've put it back on there, because you don't want to find a puddle of water coming out after you've done this repair, only to find out that you didn't put the heating element properly in. And then you have to repeat this whole process again and take it out and do screws and redo that. So you want to leave that off and just do a quick 15-minute wash. Just make sure there's no water dripping from there. Then that way you're sure that it's properly home, and then you can close it up. If you ever get stuck at any stage in this repair process, be sure to leave it in the comment section below and I'll get back to you. For those that are after their model numbers, you notice there's a sticker here that has the model number on it. If not, at the front, the energy sticker is there. they'll have the model number on it as well. Thanks for tuning in. Hope this has been helpful. I'll see you on the next one.